actually review this before I send it, before I'm presenting it. It may be my last. But we'll see. So I'm going to be talking to you all about Julius Caesar. We all know him as the Emperor of Rome. Some of us do believe that he is the Caesar salad, Caesar dressing guy. He's not. Actually, that belongs to an Italian man who lived in Mexico named Caesar Cardini. But that's another story. So this is Julius Caesar. Now, Julius Caesar, one day, before he was Emperor of Rome, was out on the water. He was a young man of 25, and this was right around 75 BC. I'm hoping these arrow keys work. They do, hooray. Okay, so, during the first century BCE, pirates ran rampant in the Mediterranean. There wasn't really a naval force constantly going after them, so they just saw it as, free territory. The Anatolia region had tons of small islands, most of which were uninhabited except for by pirates. They were great hideouts for these pirates, and basically this area became known as Sicilia Trachea, or Rough Sicily. So one day, while out on the water, Julius Caesar was going to oratory. Oratory was a thing to basically gain political clout in Rome. This was more or less, he was going to the Senate, he was going to talk, he was going to give a speech, and he was hoping that his speech was good enough that it would sway all the senators to see him as kind of a politician. So he took his very fancy, very nice boat out on the water, and while out on the water, pirates saw this boat and thought, ooh, that's a fancy boat, bet we can make some money off of that. Now the following pictures are historical recreations. They were done by a professional archivist at a real government job. But since there are no actual pictures, because cameras didn't exist in 75 BCE, and apparently nobody decided to paint this shit down, we had to take a little liberty with it. So there it is. That is Julius Caesar over here on his wonderful magic dream boat, and our savvy pirates. You can tell because their boat says savvy boat models on it. So this was a very nice boat. The pirates were like, we're going to make some money. They attacked the boat. Now, why do they attack the boat? They start going through crew. They either kill them if they're going to fight them, or they take them as prisoners if they don't. They decide that the very fancily clad nobleman should be kidnapped because that's where the money comes from, so they take him away. That man just so happened to be Julius Caesar. They also retained one other man whose name isn't really recorded in history, so there he is. You can see our pirates are very historically accurate pirates there on the right. You can tell they are pirates because they are dressed like pirates. And on the left, there's a very upset Julius Caesar and some guy because they've been kidnapped. Now, the pirates said, we have a nobleman. We want 20 talents of silver for this nobleman to return him safely. 20 talents of silver was about 26 kilos of silver. This is about 6,000 drachma, or approximately 9 years of labor for the average Roman citizen. About $261,000 today. Julius Caesar heard the pirates are talking about the bounty on his head at 20 talents of silver, a substantial amount of money. And he walked up to him and he said, how dare you? Do you know who I am? I'm Julius fucking Caesar. You're going to raise that price to 50 talents of silver. And the pirates looked at him like he was a madman. Nobody raises the price on their head, but Julius Caesar did. 50 talents of silver is worth approximately $5,220,000 today. I'm sorry, that was 20 talents. Julius Caesar's value of 50 talents of silver was worth $13,050,000 USD. Julius Caesar knew what he was worth. Now, the pirates were astonished. Usually they were used to nobles and other people cowering in fear, worrying that they were going to get killed or hurt or harmed, never to see their family again. Julius Caesar gave no credit. He did not care. What he did was he looked at the pirates and he went, "You guys are now my subordinates while I'm here on your island. You're going to do what I say, when I say it, and you're going to like it." And the pirates were like, "All right." So the pirates decided to throw Ransom Note Man back into the boat and send him away. Ransom Note Man would then have to make the journey back to Rome to find Julius's mommy and daddy and ask them for the money. Ransom Note Man was unfortunately in a position where he lived in ancient Rome in 75 BCE. And because of this, the boat sucked. Him being basically by himself, some stories say that a couple of slaves went along with this man to help raise the money. Other sources say that he was alone, all by himself. I'm going with alone because that's funnier. So all by himself, this man had to use the power of rowing a boat back to Rome. He made this long journey, very comfortably, I might add, back to Rome from Sicilia, Trachea. He made the journey by himself, and the journey took about 38 days. The whole time, Julius Caesar was back on land in the pirate place, refusing to behave like a normal person, addressing them as though they were his subordinates, commanding them around, making them get him food and drink. He made the rules. When he was sleeping and they were loud, he yelled at them and made them quiet down. When he wrote and recited poetry to the pirates, they didn't like him. They said that his poetry was terrible, and he, in return, called them uncultured swine. He said that they were illiterate dogs and that they didn't matter, and he continued to write terrible poetry to them. Now, the pirates and Julius actually kind of became friends. The pirates saw this weird man as someone that they could, joke around with, get along with, have a couple of drinks with. So they didn't really treat him as a prisoner. They treated him more like a comrade. However, a weird thing kept happening. Julius kept saying weird things like, "When I get free, I'm going to murder all of you." And because they thought this man was just some weird man, they were like, "Julius, he's so funny. Dude, murdering us, that's a great joke. I know that will never happen, right?" Well, Ransom Note Man returned. Now, upon his return, he brought the ship full of silver, 50 talents of silver. He had managed to raise the entire amount of money and got back within the 38 days. Julius Caesar was very happy. However, as he left the island, he said goodbye to his new pirate friends, and they waved him off. And as he waved goodbye, he said, "I'm coming back to murder you all." And they thought he was joking. However, it turns out Julius Caesar does not have a sense of humor. And although they thought he was joking, he certainly was not. So, upon his return to Rome, he gathered an army. His army wasn't the hugest army. Julius Caesar had very few political connections at this time and was not in any way in the military officially. He basically was just a noble. And when he showed back up to Rome and said, yo, I need some mercenaries to go murder pirates, he got some volunteers. So 4 to 6 weeks later, Julius and his navy show up. The pirates, for some reason, never left. They thought he was joking the whole time, so they just stayed where they were. Julius, however, was not joking. So he showed up, he captured all of the pirates, took his money back, and then took all of their stuff. So he took his money plus stuff, and he said, all right, back to Rome for murder time. Well, he got back to Rome, and upon getting back to Rome, the governor of Rome said, I want to make money off of these pirates. Instead of killing them, I'm selling them to slavery. And Julius was like, nah, we're not doing that. And the governor said, I'm governor of Rome, too bad. So when the governor of Rome left on vacation for the next day, Julius decided he made a promise, and he was keeping that promise. Julius Caesar is not a liar. So Julius Caesar shows up at the jail, and he says to the warden, hey, I'm Julius Caesar. Can I have those pirates? And they were like, yeah, sure, we don't want them. So Julius Caesar then took the pirates up to a nearby hill, slit their throats, and crucified them. I had to keep it PG-13. So now that all of the pirates were dead, Julius was happy. What this did, though, was it caused Rome to go into an uproar. Julius Caesar, although he may not have known it, just invented what is considered, or what is called, perceived value bias. It means that you value something because somebody or something says it is valuable. And then they put a value onto that. So Julius Caesar may have been worth 20 talents of silver, but he said, no, I'm worth more than that. Go tell everybody I'm worth more. And they did. And this was one of the largest ransoms in the history of humankind. So everyone took notice. Everybody. And immediately, Caesar got the clout that he wanted from oratory. So he never went. He immediately became a politician, some well-known person throughout town. The end result of all of this was that the pirates actually continued to dominate the Mediterranean Sea until the late 1800s. However, there were quite a few less of them around while Julius Caesar was around as well. Never go against a Sicilian when death is on the line. All right, questions, comments, concerns, rude tangents?